Salam, hello and welcome. So today and after few years, I'm back to work on the Banshee, and in fact I'm going to rebuild the Banshee. Rebuild the engine, restore the brakes and do a ton of work over there. And because there is too much work, I'm gonna need help from this guy. Are you ready?
Yes.
Are you excited?
Yes.
Hey, let's go.
A few moments later. All right, brand new tires on the Banshee, finally. And I'm liking these ones. These are all-terrain tires. And thanks to this guy for helping me. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So the fuel tank out, I have clear access for the engine. So I'm going to start with draining the coolant, then removing the carburetors and the exhaust. The next thing I'm going to do is to remove these springs. There's two of them which are holding the header or the exhaust to the engine.
Much later.
Alright, so I'm gonna go and do the same on the other one. Okay, so I did some work off the camera because the bike was really dirty. I couldn't work on it in that condition, so I did wash it off the camera. And to accomplish that purpose, after I removed them, I had to put back the carb and the spark plugs to keep the engine protected, avoid having water in the crankcase and then trouble in the future. So I did put these back in and I'll move them back out shortly. And man, look at this place. This is officially now a workshop. That box has got lots of spark parts. These are carburetor jets under the set of wrench, and then in between there is carb rebuild kit. That's the air pressure testing kit. New cylinders, pistons, exhaust. And man, look at this. This is one of the new cylinders. And here's the piston. Of course, I'm going to clean them thoroughly before I put them in. Yeah, and now I am going to work with all of this, but for now I'm going to drain the radiator. These silicone tubes are amazing. Highly, highly recommended. Get a set made by a good brand and you'll enjoy hassle-free when it comes to coolant and radiator and all of that. I'm going to undo the cylinder drain and see if it will drip any coolant from there. Okay, so I've done some preparation work. I removed all the overflow hoses out of the way. Now I'm ready to dismantle the engine. Just need to disconnect the cooling lines from the cool head. Hi again. So, being a family man, I had to run to do a few things. Here's what I did when I came back. That is completely free now. I'm ready to remove the head. And I also did some work on the pistons. So I have matched the piston ports with the cylinder ports. And it was a necessary job. There's no use of the porting if the piston cannot suck all that air and fuel. Yeah? So, ready to go. So I thought everyone should know this if they are ever going to work on a Banshee motor or remove the head. Now the bolts go in and being torqued in specific order, and they should go out in the same order. That goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and so on. My guess is that the previous owner or his mechanic has applied some kind of sealant, not just the O-rings of the head, because that's not coming out easily. I'm going to try to leverage something here. Well, the previous owner or his mechanic has not given me much choice. Now, the head is bolted on with sealant. There is actually a special O-ring, so to speak, that comes for the cool head, and they come in kit. So there are O-rings in multiple places, and lots of these in the other part of the cover. As much as I had to do this, but it seems to me the way to go is to lift it up from down. So for that I'm gonna have to use a jack. This is the setup that I did, and it worked. Actually, if the camera will show, it moved up a bit. It did open a gap here. That's all I needed. It's not coming out because of these O-rings around the studs. Just before I take them out, I'm going to take the studs out because I will transfer these studs to the new cylinders, and it's much easier to do this while they are still bolted on the engine. First one out. While I'm started already taking studs out, Musa here is cleaning them. Go ahead. Thank you, Musa.
Welcome. 2,000 years later.
Now, before I remove the old cylinders, I will clean the piston on the new cylinders and make them ready for the assembly. Each cylinder is held with 4 bolts, 2 at this side and 2 at that side. You cannot see them from this angle, so I'll remove them in crisscross pattern. So a couple of things I need to take from the old cylinders, including the water plugs and the reed valves. Let's start with the reed valves, easier. Now both cages, V-Force 3, and they've got the carbon fiber petals, and they look in very good condition actually. Now the last thing that I need from the old cylinder is the rubber plug, which is here. And yeah, it might be a wise idea to use actually RTV with it. All the sand, all the gasket has been removed, the surfaces are clean and they are ready to go in. But first I want to install the drain plug. Now that's one thing which I'm going to use RTV with, because I don't have new plugs. These ones are old, they are used and not in the best condition ever, but they are not in bad condition, and that's what matters here. Sure enough, it's very important to make sure that the rubber is seated right with the surface. Now I'm going to install the cage and the valve, and I'm not going to use anything except for gaskets. That's it. Now the only thing I want to do is I'm gonna add a little bit of Loctite in here. And this is called application, so I'm using the blue one. So there is some work to do before getting the new cylinders in. I'll replace the pistons, put the new pistons in with a new bearing and pin, and then I'm going to clean the crankcase surface from this old gasket right here. Yeah. So I'll do this off the camera, get it cleaned, and then we'll get to the piston spot, which is interesting. To remove the piston, first I'm gonna have to remove this circlip here. Here it is. Okay, so now I'm going to push the piston pin, and I hope that it will come out easily. And it did. Here's the old piston. Bearing. Yeah, much easier. Okay, so it is time now to put on the piston rings. And the Wyseco rings, they come with writing at top on one side with the letter N, nothing on the other side, but the manual says you can install them either sides up or down, doesn't matter. And there is no ring on the upper side and ring on the lower side, either one can go which way. Okay, so now I'm going to be putting these new gaskets in before I put in the pistons. I will use a bit of oil to prevent having the gasket sticking to the mating surface, because yesterday cleaning was not fun. Now it's important before installing the pistons to check the connecting rod and whether there is any play. The play here is minimal. There are specific numbers for it. Honestly, I don't know these numbers, but that play is pretty normal. Doesn't seem excessive at all. Looks okay to me. And this is a 1/2 mil gasket. It's the stock size gasket, because I'm going back to stock figures. Stock size cylinder, stock size piston. To make my life easier, I will install one circlip at one side and then install the other one after inserting the pin on the bike. It's important when you install the clip that this gap is far away from this little hole. I've got here a set of Yamaha OEM bearing for the piston, so I'll be using these. Everything is ready to go. Of course, I'll be adding oil throughout the installation stages, on the bearings, on the pins, on the pistons, especially from the outside and inside these holes here. And also I'll add in the oil ports here. Never hurts to put too much oil. I will be also adding lube on the bearing before full installation, and also inside the connecting rod. Now, to make the installation easier, I'll partially insert the pin in lube. Right, so I'm gonna slide the piston in this way and then lock it with the pin. Just like that. And the last thing to do now is to insert the circlips on both sides, this side and this side of each piston. Just like that, fully seated. Move into the next one. Okay, I'll add lube on the pistons. Just for the sake of good measure, make sure all the parts are lubricated with the assembly. One place, never be stingy with lubrication, is actually the rings. Give them lots of lube. So I'm going to press the piston rings, and at the same time I'm going to slide the cylinder in. Okay, we're gonna install the next one. The cylinders are in. I'll put the nuts back, then I'm gonna start torquing. Now keep in mind, I'm just tightening the screws, I'm not torquing yet. And the torque spec for this is 20, so I'm going to go gradually from 10 to 15 to 20. And of course, I'm gonna go crisscross pattern on each cylinder bolt. So now that the piston and cylinders are in and everything seems to be okay so far, next is going to be the cool head. Now, it needs a little bit of cleaning. Unfortunately, the previous mechanic has put some RTV here, and all of that needs to be scrubbed out. And we should trust the O-ring. That O-ring is designed to seal, and it needs a clean surface to be on without interruption. In fact, RTV might create uneven surfaces, and it's not gonna resolve anything. It's gonna only make it worse. So I'm going to clean this and make it ready for installation. Try to polish and clean the cool head, but it's in such bad condition. Now, I'm not sure if the camera is gonna catch this. If you look at the surface here, it's scratched. if you look at the O-ring grooves, they are not clean. Try to clean these as much as I could, but it's not possible. Now, whoever installed the spool head before, they did it with RTV. You should rely on the O-ring and trust the O-ring to do its job, but no, they had to go with RTV. So how can this come out of the groove? It cannot. Now, any O-ring I'm gonna install here is not going to do the sealing job that it's supposed to do. All right, so the way forward for me now is to order a new head.